Hello and welcome back to the Smallholding. So it's just a quick video today to tell you 8 vegetables that I'm going to be sowing this month. Now in all honesty, March can be a bit of a funny month and you do have to watch the weather a little bit. So it's the 1st of March today and I've been watching the weather. We've got a bit of a cold spell coming in, so I probably won't actually be sowing these seeds till probably the end of the 2nd week in March, just to make sure that really cold patch is passed. But anyway, into it. So the first thing I'm going to be sowing is Perpetual Spinach. What I do now with my spinach is I sow into these little module trays. I'm actually starting to like these trays a lot. I use them for a lot of things now, and I'll just be popping, I'll try and get 1 seed per sow, but if 2 fall in, it's not really a problem. Bring them on undercover. All these seeds again are undercover this time of year, and I'll bring them on until they're nice and strong, 2 or 3 inches tall, and then I plant them out in the no-dig garden at probably about a sort of foot spacing, something like that. They get quite large, they will get a large plant, but if they're quite close, they'll just all go nice and upright, and about a foot seems to work for me. The second thing that I'm going to be growing in March is leeks, early leeks. So I'll get some sowings in now, and I will do some next month also. The leek I tend to stick with, or have done up till now, is Musselburgh, and I am going to sow some of those, but I've just got a new variety to try, which is called Bleu de Solis. It's a French variety, and apparently they're a bit more vigorous and a bit more hardy than Musselburgh, so I'll be trying those too. Now I'm going to try those 2 ways. I plant them undercover in here in a raised bed. I'm going to do direct sow into the bed over there, and then prick them out later on when they're of a size. But I'm also going to multi-sow 2 or 3 seeds into my sow trays and keep them in here undercover too, and again leave them until they're nice and strong, and then we'll follow maybe like broad beans, something like that, if the plants are of a size where they can stay in here. If they get a bit too big for these sow trays, I can pop them on into my 7 centimetres just to keep them until there's a bed spare for them to go in. But that's the sort of times I'm hoping for, around June time, to get them out into the beds. Third vegetable is radish. So in all honesty, I don't particularly like what you'd think of as a normal radish, the little round ones or the slightly longer ones. I'm not that keen on peppery sort of vegetables, so the radish I'm actually trying is Japanese radish. It's something I've never grown before. I think they call it daikon, is it, or something? But yeah, so I've got a big pack of seeds, quite good value. It's 1,000 seeds. It's only a couple of pounds, and I'm going to give them a go. Apparently they are a lot milder, sort of consistency of a carrot, quite crunchy veg, and you can roast them, cook them any way you can. Carrots roast, boil, you can grate them, slice them raw, eat them raw. It's supposed to be quite a versatile veg. That's something I'm actually quite looking forward to this year. And again, I'm going to do a similar thing. I'm going to sow them into these sows. I will try to get 1 per sow, because they do get a fair size, quite tall and quite wide, so I don't want to bunch them up too much. I'll try and get 1 per sow, and then those, when they're up and a bit strong, again will be planted out in the no-dig garden. You can also do them direct, obviously, and then thin them. I'm just doing them in modules. It's just the way I'm going to do it. So another thing I'll get started in March is my lettuce. Again, I'll do this 2 different ways. I will sow it direct into these raised beds in the polytunnel here, and then thin them out. And you can plant the thin ends as long as you're careful not to break the roots too much. You can gently tease them apart and just space them out, and plant your thin ends out. A couple of different varieties. I've got Webb's Wonderful and a headed mix. But yeah, so I'm also going to grow these in sows. Now lettuce seed is a bit fiddly, but what I tend to do is I get a little stick and I'll make sure I sharpen it to a nice point with my knife, and then I'll get some seeds either into my hand or onto a little dish, get the tray ready with all the little holes pricked, and if you just wet the tip of the stick or pencil, just wet it with your tongue, you can get 1 seed at a time and just pop them into the sow trays. It is a bit fiddly, but I'm only growing for me. I'm not a market gardener, so I can do a tray full, you know, in 15-20 minutes. It doesn't take long. and it just makes it easier. You've then got one plant per sal, and you can just pop them out, and it's just, I find it a bit easier. It's something I'm really liking now with these modules, is to do it that way. So yeah, any lettuce you can grow it all the same way, modules or direct. Next thing I start in March is beetroot. Now, I've always only ever grown beetroot bolt hardy. It's the only one I've ever grown. Always had really good success with it, and it's great for roasting, pickling, all the usual sort of beetroot uses. But I have this year gone for a slightly different variety. It's a rainbow mixed, so there's like yellow ones, orangey ones, and your normal purple ones. The yellow ones, the different colour ones, are supposed to be sort of a slightly sweeter taste, so that'll be quite interesting. I'm actually quite looking forward to seeing how they come on, and I'm going to do those same as I do with the spinach and stuff. I'm going to do those in these little modular trays, and try to get one seed per sal, and then they will be going out in a no-dig garden as well. So I also, and this is only the second year that I've grown this, is Celeriac. So I grew this last year for the first time. Wasn't quite sure if I was going to like it, and it's actually a really nice vegetable. I'd never eaten Celeriac before I grew it last year, so I actually was quite pleased to sort of try it, and it's something that I am definitely going to try. I think last year I started it a bit too late. I didn't start it until May, and they got quite good. They're probably sort of, I don't know, just bigger than sort of cricket ball sized, but not particularly as big as I was hoping. So I'm going to start them early. I can always sow again next month if anything, if I have any problems with them, but I'm going to start them in March and try and get a bit of extra length to the growing season and bring them on wow. And I will do those again into these modular trays, just try and get one seed with the stick and pop them in per module. So that's Celeriac. So the next thing that I'm going to try, and again I'm doing something different this year, so parsnips. Now, I wouldn't usually sow parsnips until the soil's warmed up, but actually last year my sister gave me some parsnips that she had sown in little modular trays, and it's not, I have seen them in shops, parsnips and carrots and things in trays, and I thought, well, obviously they're a root vegetable, would that really work? Anyway, my sister gave me these and they came on a treat, and I had some lovely parsnips, so I'm actually going to sow them, one or two, because obviously germination with parsnip can be a little bit sort of sporadic, so a couple of seeds per module, keep them under cover to germinate, possibly even keep them at home on my heat mats to get a better germination, and then once they're up, bring them down here, and then obviously you can plant them out at the spacings that I usually would thin my parsnips to 2 or 3 inches to get some nice big parsnips, and the variety I'm sowing is called White Gem. And then the last one is cabbage. So this is a variety called Greyhound. I probably will leave this until the end of the month, because what I've found with doing any brassicas around March time is if you suddenly get a really cold late April or early May, and you've got lots of little plants, you then have to pot them. If it's a bit too cold and bitter to put them out, you've got to pot them all on. It's just a bit more of a flaff. So I'll probably end of March, last week of March, again depending on the weather, is when I'll do the cabbage. But I'm going to do those again, start them in little modular trays. That does give me the option then to pop them on into these if I want to keep them inside for any length of time, if the weather's particularly bad, just to bring them on and get them that bit stronger before I put them out. So that's all the seeds that I will be sowing from about mid-March. Obviously, remember, any seeds that you can sow in January, you can continue to sow through February. So carrots, you can continue to do successive sowings every couple of 3 weeks of the early nants is what I do in here to get successive carrots. And also, even though I won't be planting them this month, now is the time to be getting your seed potatoes and chitting them. So put them on old egg trays or seed trays. You can stand them up, keep them somewhere light and cool but frost free. So yeah, inside your house would be too warm, but in a conservatory, a greenhouse, somewhere where they're not going to freeze solid, but it does have to be light. Obviously if it's too dark, you'll get long spindly shoots that are weak and will snap, and it just doesn't do them any good. You want nice, fairly short but stout, stocky chits on your potatoes. So now's the time to be getting your potatoes chitting. But anyway, that's what I'm doing this month. So take it easy, guys, and we will see you soon.